guys, it's Jen. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my pantry, otherwise known as maybe the most important room in my house. I'm gonna tell you how I keep it organized. I'm gonna give you strategies to get your pantry organized, and I hope you're really gonna like it. So I have been wanting to film this video literally since March, but I had it kind of all planned to film, and then we all kind of went into our panic mode as the great unpleasantness was first ramping up, and it never ever got filmed. And so it's been in the back of my mind. Finally this week, kids went back to college, things are starting to feel a little more normal-ish, and I really felt like it was time to film this video. I just cleaned this space out last week, and as we're talking, I'll show you footage. We'll talk about the different steps that it takes to get your pantry organized, and then most importantly, to keep your pantry organized. Pantries are a very big deal to me. For 3 years, I worked for a very large storage and organizational store, and I designed people's pantries. And so I actually designed this pantry, and there is something so life-changing when your pantry is well organized. And I think the reason it is so important to me is because there's a lot of money spent on food now more than ever. And if your pantry is disorganized, you end up wasting so much money because you don't know what you have. You end up buying duplicates or not getting what you need when you go to the store. Especially now, it's so important that we be in and out of the store as quickly as possible. If we're doing grocery delivery, which I do often, we want to make sure we're able to look in the pantry easily and know exactly what needs to go on that list. Now we're going to go through the steps of organization, and as we do it, I'm going to show you footage of me actually doing those steps in this pantry, although there's one very important step that I did not have to do, and that's because I already had my systems in place. So if pantries are important to you, you're going to want to watch this video. You may want to pull out a pad and paper to write down some of the tips. I have literally probably worked with hundreds of customers on getting their pantries organized. I would have people bring me pictures, and it really brought me a tremendous amount of joy. So if I can do that for any of you, then that will just make me really happy. So please make sure you comment if this video was helpful. And yeah, even, on Instagram or wherever, if you guys want to tag me with pictures of your organized pantries, or even of your pantries that are a mess, and I would love to make some recommendations. So let's just get right into it. And before we do, I just want to pause and let you guys know that I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. There is a big red subscribe button right there. If you will just hit that, and also make sure you hit those bell notifications, and you'll always know when I come out with a new video. The very first thing that you have to do with a pantry, and this is the part that everyone dreads and no one wants to do, is you have to purge. If you do not do the purging process right, nothing else that you do will matter. It won't matter if you get a whole bunch of new bins and boxes. It won't matter if you get a whole bunch of new storage and organizational systems set up. You've got to get rid of the old food, and you've got to get rid of food that you just don't eat. For example, when I was doing this particular purge, I got rid of all of the gluten-free items. I was gluten-free for a hot minute. It didn't work for me. It didn't help me at all, and it actually made me a little bit depressed, but I did have a ton of gluten-free items still sitting in my pantry. Now I've set those aside to donate them to a food bank, so you really don't want to throw away usable food, especially now. So check out maybe before you start your purge where in your area will take that, obviously unopened, unexpired food. And then the expired food just has to go in the trash. Now for this particular purge, I was kind of amazed at how much I threw out. I don't like throwing food away, but sometimes you buy things, your family just doesn't like them, or maybe it's canned goods and things like that. And when was the last time you checked the expiration dates on your canned goods? Because they do actually go bad. So once you've cleaned everything out, you probably will feel a lot better about the state of your pantry, and you haven't even done any of the organizational work yet. But I want to encourage you that if you stop at this step, at the just cleaning things out, and you don't move through the other steps I'm going to give you, you're really not going to have a pantry that is sustainable and that will continue to work for your family. All right, so let's move on to stage 2. Now this part, you may want to sit down at your kitchen table. You may want to get input from other people that use the pantry, including your children, including whoever is the other person that you live with, your partner, your spouse, and really think through what needs to go in this space and how do you use your pantry, okay? Because it's one of those things, it's amazing, but we don't ever really even think about it. But you want to make sure that what is stored in your pantry are the things that are appropriate to have in a pantry. Now, in this house, we happen to have a huge walk-in pantry. I have not always had a pantry this large. I know some of you have pantries even larger than this. The pantries I used to see, oh my gosh, some of the new construction pantries, I would drool. So beautiful. But most of us in our pantries, we have some shelves up above and down below. That is the perfect place to store things like I've got my juicer up there. I've got some seasonal items up there, things that you don't use every single day. Those are the things you're going to want to go up high where you can't reach. What you want to put in this prime area here, okay, so really everywhere that you and your family can easily access, this is your prime real estate. This is where you want to put the items that you use each and every day. So really think through, what are those items? We eat a lot of cereal in this house. We eat a lot of oats. This is where I keep like my back stock of coffee and things like that. Obviously, I have all of my canned goods right here behind me. You really want to make sure that you know what you use and how much of each individual thing do you need. For example, condiments are a huge deal, right? And when you run out of a basic condiment, it can really be a bummer. Especially now, because no one wants to just run to the store really quick. So I want to make sure I always have extras of things like ketchup and mustard and tartar sauce and salad dressing, the stuff that we use week in and week out. And because I have all of my condiments in one place, when I'm low on a particular condiment, or when I take the last one out and start it into use and put it in the fridge, it's really easy for me to see that, oh my goodness, it looks like something's missing. I think I need to get another mustard so that I have one ready to go. Also, canned goods, and a lot of us really stocked up before the great unpleasantness started. You want to make sure that your canned goods are really well organized. Now, this is a shelf basket. It's an Alpha shelf basket, and I'm going to get into kind of how the actual things that you could purchase to help work at the end of the video. So I'll tell you exactly everything that I used in here when I designed this pantry, but these shelf baskets, oh my gosh, they will change your life. They also have these plastic dividers here. So I'm actually able to divide out all of the different things. So I've got salsa, because we go through a lot of salsa in this house. I've got all of the chicken noodle soup and the kind of soup that I use more for recipes and things like that. I've got some other variety of things I use for cooking. I've got beans all lined up in one area. And it just really makes a difference when I instantly can look in here. I mean, this whole section is nothing but fish. It's my husband really likes salmon and sardines, and we've got tuna there. So if someone is looking for something, they're not rifling through, a whole stack of a variety of different things. It's really easy for them to come in here and get what they want. And again, more importantly, when I go shopping or I go to order grocery delivery, I can come in here and just in 1 second, I know exactly what we're good on and what we need more of. Now I want to show you, I'm going to lower the camera just a little bit. So you're going to hear my voice, but you're not going to see me. Whoops, let's do that. These are the drawers that I utilize in here. Now, who would think that drawers in a pantry would be like the best idea ever? But it really changed my life once I put drawers in my pantry. I've got a drawer here that is all for pasta. I've got a drawer here that is all for snacks, and this is great for little ones because it's at the right level. They can easily get in here and grab a snack. And then I've got a drawer in here that is just for obviously saran wrap and Reynolds wrap and all of those kinds of things that you might need. And then this bottom drawer is our paper goods. Those straws could use some help right there, but there's paper plates, paper napkins. We don't use those very often, which is why they are on the very bottom. Now I also want to talk about using bins for organization. And again, we're going to talk about actual items at the end of the video, but as you're working through what you want to keep in your pantry, you want want to categorize. So you want to kind of think through, okay, what makes sense for us and our family? And everybody's going to be different. But for us, this whole shelf, for example, is all basically breakfast items, cereal. I have this whole basket for oats. I have this bin for instant oats and things like that. I really don't like to have containers unless I absolutely have to, meaning like the cardboard containers. I love to take things out. Eventually, I would like to invest in some cereal containers so that I can put things like this in a different container so it stays fresh longer. Lately, we've been going through so much cereal, I'm not even sure that would do me any good, but having bins like these, I've talked about these bins before, and you know, we'll talk about those in a minute, but just love those. But getting things grouped into categories will make a huge difference. This basket here, I literally have just kind of a variety of a hodgepodge of things. I have some peanut butter, I have some syrup, I have 2 different brands of syrup, and then I have my back stock of coffee. Just things that I don't like to have things just loose on the shelf whenever possible. So if you can categorize and put them into bins, and this is the kind of bin you can just pick up at the dollar store, so things don't have to be expensive. Okay, now another thing you want to make sure you categorize are spices and things that you bake with. Now my spices are actually in a drawer next to my stove, which that is what works for me. You may have your spices in your pantry. I don't like that because I don't want to have to go back and forth. But these Lazy Susans right here, I utilize for things. This is a baking Lazy Susan. So I have things like cream of tartar, and it was really funny because when I cleaned everything out, I found I had 3 things of cream of tartar. There's only a couple of recipes I use it for, but I always think I'm out, so I pick it up. Well, now I know, girlfriend, you are not out of cream of tartar. But I've also got sprinkles in here for cookie decorating. I've got chocolate chips, baking powder, vanilla, things that I really only use for baking, and it can live in here. It's easy for me to grab out just 1 or 2 things, or I can pick this whole thing up and take it out into the main part of the kitchen when I'm working on a baking project. I also love to use these for oils and things that can, you know, spill and get sticky. To have them in something like this where you can just easily turn it. Let me see if I can show you guys. You can see how easily that will spin. Really easy to find the oil that I'm looking for, and it's such a great use of the space. Another thing I've got in here are my flour and sugar containers. These are very easy to find. You can get them at the Container Store. You can buy them at other places as well. But I love these because they're airtight, and especially now we're doing a lot of baking at home. I've been doing a lot of bread at home. So I'm going through a lot of flour. It's kind of hard to find, and I want to make sure it stays, you know, clean and safe, and we don't get any bugs or anything like that. And this is my sugar container, which as you can see is empty. So this tells me at a glance that the next time I go to the store, I have got to get sugar. Okay, another thing I wanted to show you guys are these bins. I absolutely love these, completely obsessed. I love them because you can get these little bin labels for them. They clip right on. Again, I'll put everything in the description box below. This one, as you can see, says very clearly first aid. And it isn't that, you know, we don't know that it's first aid because we live here, but let's say you had someone visiting, or maybe if my mom is here or whatever, she can easily know where we keep the Band-Aids and the Benadryl and any, you know, there are, what else is in here? I've got some NyQuil cold and flu in here. There's some, let's see, there's some Lactate in there, all kinds. I've got an elastic bandage in here. Anything you would need for first aid is in this basket. And then this basket here is our vitamins. And it looks like I've got some isopropyl alcohol there. You know, just a few things that someone might need in case of an emergency. I like that it's in here and it's really easy to access. Okay, so after you've purged and after you've thought through your own system for how you want your pantry to kind of behave, how do you want it to work for your family, you may find you don't have enough room for everything that you're hoping to put in here. So you may have to start rethinking, where could you reallocate a few things? I happen to have some extra room. So like right here above me, I have my Christmas dishes, but if they wouldn't fit there, those would be like my #1 candidate to go somewhere else. Maybe even, you know, down in the basement, or they could go in an attic, or they could go in a different cupboard in the kitchen, because obviously I don't access my Christmas dishes every single day. I want to make sure that your pantry has has plenty of room for all of the things that your family needs every day. And most importantly, that it's located in such a way that it's super convenient for everybody who lives in your house to quickly and easily be able to find what they need. Because ultimately that is the goal of your pantry. You don't need it to be Pinterest perfect or ready for someone to post pictures on Instagram. You need it to work. I think this is the hardest working room in your house. And honestly, when you think about the money involved, there are probably, oh, I don't know, at least thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars worth of food goes through this pantry on any given year. Is that right? Yeah, I mean, that's probably right, especially now if you're an average family. So you want to protect that investment and you want to make sure that this space works better than maybe any other room in your house. All right, so let's start talking products because we've purged, we've figured out how and what needs to go in this space. We've maybe identified some problems and now we need to figure out how do we want to store it? How could it be working better for our family? Now, I would encourage you to try some systems for a little bit before purchasing anything new to make sure that what you've set up is actually sustainable, but then it might be time to go shopping. Now, this is not a sponsored video, but the Container Store is having a pantry sale right now, so definitely go and check out what they've got on sale. They sell pretty much everything that I have showed you in here, but the most expensive item is the actual Alpha system, and that's the drawers that make such a big difference, the shelf baskets that make such a big difference, and you can go into any Container Store and they actually have closet designers that will help you, really think through your own pantry. One thing I would suggest if you're going to go that route is take pictures of your pantry the way it is right now. And I just want to tell you, I have friends that work at Container Stores all over the country. There is no judgment at the Alpha design desk at the Container Store. They have seen it all. And there is no pantry that is beyond redemption. There is no closet that is beyond redemption. And seeing how you actually live in the space now will help them get a better idea of what you need. Also, if you're going to do a system like this that is actually installed, you're going to want to either take measurements ahead of time or they can send someone out to measure for you. But that will really help speed along the process and will make sure you get a really great pantry that will work for your family. Okay, now let's move on to the last step, which is maintaining your pantry. And this is the step that most of us forget to do. At least monthly, if not more frequently, depending on how many kids you have. You may have to do this weekly, maybe before you do your grocery run. You're going to want to come in here and purge and reset and put things back where they belong. Because unless your family is far superior to mine, people tend to not put things back where they got them. And if you wait a month or 2 months or 3 months to do that reorganization, it's going to be a huge chore. You're going to put it off and your systems are going to start to break down. So you really do want to make sure that you get in here on a very regular basis, purge, reorganize, reset, put things back where they go. I will say again, having the drawers really makes a big difference because that way it's really kind of visually easy to see where everything goes. But yeah, you've got to devote some time in this space. And before I kind of learned some of these tips and tricks, I just wanted to kind of throw the food in and forget about it. But what happens is you end up wasting food and you end up super frustrated because you got doubles of things you already had. You forgot to get the one thing you needed. You can't make the recipes you want to make. And it just, to me, leads to all of this frustration and angst. And in my home right now, we're trying to down the frustration and angst as much as possible. We have enough of all of that out there. We don't need that in here. And will having a nice and organized pantry change your life? Yes. I think having a nice organized pantry could actually change your life. I know it's going to save you money and I know it's a really, really good idea. Okay, let me run through a couple more products before I let you guys go. And again, I will put all of the links to the products that I use down in the description box. So these are the water hyacinth baskets. I love this shape. I love that you can put the bin labels on them. They're super cool looking. They kind of add a little bit of texture to your space, which I like. But one note on that, make sure when you do finally go to buy things, don't buy like 17 different materials. Try to keep things consistent and buy multiples of the same type of thing. It will just help it look a lot more cohesive. And you know, when you open the pantry door, if it looks good, then you're more inclined to kind of want to keep it that way. I find it's very motivating. Another thing, of course, are these multi-purpose storage bins. This one is I think this one is the large size. So good for corralling so many different things around your house. I'm hoping that they're on sale right now for you guys, but I'll put the link to these below. Again, I wish this was sponsored, but it's not. This is just one of those products that I cannot live without in my home. Absolutely love this. This here actually will stack. This is an open basket, and this is what I use for my potatoes and my onions. This time of year in Georgia, I cannot keep a lot of potatoes and onions because things go bad really quickly because of the humidity. But a basket like this that's open air, you probably know this trick already, but you always want to take potatoes and onions out of plastic because that does make them break down and go bad easier. So taking them out and putting them in something like this is really helpful. These Lazy Susans are from the Container Store. I have these in the office. My husband uses them for his modeling supplies. Modeling meaning airplane models. We use these all over our house. These work great under the sink, and they can be found in the kitchen department, and I absolutely love them. A lot of organizational bang for your buck with these Lazy Susans. I'm trying to think. I guess the only other thing I would say is if you're going to do an alpha system for a pantry, make sure you spring for the liners. I can't tell you how many people thought they wanted to do a pantry, and then they would cheap out on me at the very end when we were looking at the liners. For pantries especially, the liners are essential because whenever anything spills, or even when it's just time to clean them out, I can just easily wipe them off. And I know a lot of people don't like the what they call the wire shelving. This wire shelving is not like that anyway. In other words, it does lay flat and things don't roll around, but putting in the shelf liners really does give you that nice solid surface, and it makes it super, super easy to clean. Okay, and then lastly, any of the, these are OXO containers, any of these that will just pop on and off. It keeps them airtight. They're really easy to open. Again, really easy for me to tell when I'm almost out of something that we use all the time. And they just look better than, just having a bag with a clip. Although, obviously I have some of that as well. But anytime you can put something into a cute bin that makes you happy, like I just did this. I just had the dog bones in like the big plastic or the big cardboard box from Costco, and it just didn't look cute. And now they look really cute, and Max is really happy when he hears me pop open this thing, so I have to be careful that I don't do it right now. Okay, and that's really it. It is not hard to do this, but it is a little time consuming. And if you've never really taken the time to organize your pantry, hopefully this will give you some tips and tricks so that you can develop a system that's very easy to maintain. That footage I showed you at the beginning of me purging and then kind of resetting my pantry, that entire project took me less than 30 minutes, but that's only because I have had this same system set up in this pantry for 4 years, and it works great for me. I know where everything goes. And so, 30 minutes once a month is all that's required now to keep my pantry looking just like this. So I hope this video was helpful. Please make sure you subscribe. I do not do sponsored videos, so if you are interested in supporting the channel, I would love it if you would go and check me out on Patreon. I hope whatever you're doing, you're finding joy, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.